After Bryson Graham went out there and hired AC Law, he has now landed another guy for another position in the Chicago Bulls front office, and that is Stephen Mervis from the Orlando Magic. We're going to talk about him, and then we got to talk about Wes Unseld interviewing for the Chicago Bulls head coaching job. Y'all know we're going to talk about it, break it all down, but you got to hear the music first.
Cognac, gang.
Shy Boys podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down for today's daily episode. So if you're tuned in, like what you're listening to, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It's a lot of news circulating around Bulls Nation right now. So, man, make sure you stay tuned in so you can get the latest right here on Shy Boys podcast. Just a recap, a move that happened today that I did a video on. The Chicago Bulls earlier signed AC Law to be the vice president of player personnel, getting a guy from OKC to come over to Chicago. And now the Chicago Bulls move on to signing and hiring Stephen Mervis to be senior vice president of basketball operations. Just to give you a little background, Stephen, maybe it's Stephen, I don't really know, so excuse me on that, but I'm just going to pronounce it as Stephen as of right now to keep it a buck with you. We'll later learn about the guy as time goes on to make that correction more accurately. But as of right now, Mervis, he got his start with the Indiana Pacers and then spent the last 12 years with the Orlando Magic, going in with the Orlando Magic, working in a lot of different areas as an assistant GM last year. But prior to last year, spent a lot of time doing a lot of things in the strategy department. This is a guy in Mervis who it really is, well regarded around the league. I would imagine that Bryson Graham heard from some of his people about him, and he could potentially have thrown his hat into the candidate bucket. And Bryson Graham is doing a hell of a job for himself right now. NBA writer Steph No had this to say about Mervis. He said, I asked around about Mervis and he heard that Mervis is extremely smart as an executive, strong in trade negotiations and general strategy. And he's also well connected with other executives throughout the league. So that sounds like we're getting another smart guy, a good basketball mind up in the Chicago Bulls front office. It's not saying that we're all set and ready to go win championships, but man, I'd be lying if I didn't say that this is a great start that I'm seeing by Bryson Graham. Definitely looking at some of these options that we are getting in the Chicago Bulls organization, and bringing on a guy like this who has worked his way up pretty much from the ground up and made it up to this particular level now, you got to commend him. And that's the theme right now is what I'm looking at. Bryson Graham, a guy that worked himself up from the ground up. Then you had AC Law, who is a former basketball player and played with Bryson Graham and worked his way up from a coach to all the way throughout a front office, and ultimately winning a championship with the Oklahoma City Thunder, getting it out the mud, along with Mervis, getting it out the mud, starting out as an intern. And it's very, very impressive. These guys, at least right now, you know what I'm saying? Just looking at them, you got to give them a lot of credit for how hard they work to get to where they are now. And on top of some of the other things that I mentioned about Mervis and his basketball acumen within the NBA, this man has degrees in finance and law. So I'm not surprised to see that him in possession of those type of credentials has had him on the side of negotiations and strategy. So that's very, very impressive in my personal opinion. And I can't wait to see what these guys all do. You're getting guys from organizations who had to build out something And now you look at those teams that they're coming from, you say, hey, the Orlando Magic, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they underachieved a little bit, in my personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because I believe they were supposed to be further along at this particular moment in time, but you still give them a lot of credit. Then you look at the Atlanta Hawks, who with Bryson Graham made a bold move to say, Trae Young, appreciate what you done, but it's not about what you done. It's about what can you offer lately. And now look at the Atlanta Hawks in the playoffs. And do we really need to go through the number of things that are going on in OKC? Do we really need to bring that on? No, we don't really have to explain. These guys are going to be in championship contention at least for the next 3 to 5 years, bro. And that's just maybe could even go even longer. You know what I'm saying? With Sam Presti being part of being the lead dog over there. So I'm excited about Mervis coming over to the Chicago Bulls, and hopefully these guys can bring us something to be excited for versus what we've been dealing with for the last few seasons. And I'm still going to hold Bryson Graham to what he said, man. If I'm the smartest guy in the room, I failed. And you brought in some really good minds to the Chicago Bulls. And we'll see what they do. We can like it, but we're still going to critique because it's still going to come down to what does the product look like on the actual basketball floor. So we'll see what happens. Y'all let me know your thoughts and everything down below in regards to Mervis coming on to the Chicago Bulls to be their senior vice president of basketball operations. Now, before we get up out of here, I want to talk about Wes Unseld potentially being an option to coach the Chicago Bulls. Now, you might say, Bobby, I ain't seen nothing like that. I ain't seen nothing like that either until KC Johnson came out saying some stuff. He said that, and you take whatever you want from KC Johnson, but I just want to react to it simply because I have thoughts. But after reacting to some of the signings that transpired, like AC and then Mervis, KC Johnson reflect on some of the things that he heard when it came surrounding these candidates who now receive jobs, and threw in a little tad bit after saying that, hey, Bryson Graham believed that the first priority was getting the structure of the front office in order, and then the head coach search will start after the front office is in place. KC Johnson proceeds to throw in a little tidbit at the end of his tweet and said several Bulls assistants are expected to return, and Wes Unseld Jr. could be interviewed for the head job. Now, look, I ain't got nothing against these people, man. I really don't. But I don't want to look, give them an interview out of respect, but and I know it's made a best man win. But what did I say yesterday? We got to get rid of the funk. Is you can't go out there, take a shower, and put on the same drawers. If you do, you're dirty. If you do, you're dirty. And that's not to say that Wes Unseld Jr. can't be a good coach for the Chicago Bulls. But it's just like, can we start over with a brand new house? It's like driving to the dealership, getting a new car, and then telling the mechanic, you know what? I liked it, my engine so good in my 90,000 mile old car. I want to take that engine and put it in this new car. What? It's nothing against them. It's just that I don't want to go down this road again. And it has me questioning, like, is this a request of Michael Reinsdorf? It's legit. It's legit, bro. I think Michael Reinsdorf has been putting his money where his mouth is with these last three signings. With Bryson Graham, AC Law, and Mervis. And especially going after Mervis and AC Law. I think he was putting his money where his mouth is when it came to those two new front office personnel being signed in support of Bryson Graham. But I don't believe Wes Unseld Jr. should be on the candidate list. That's just me. I want to start fresh. That's just me. I don't know if Michael Reinsdorf has requested that Bryson interview Wes Unseld. But I've been here before, bro. It's like, and what gives me another reason to think about it is simply because you didn't want Billy to go. You wanted the guy that was coming in, the executive VP, you wanted him to come in and accept Billy Donovan, and said that if he's not willing to accept Billy Donovan, maybe he's not the GM or the guy to run the show for the Chicago Bulls. So in my mind, I'm believing, at least right now, and I could absolutely be wrong, I'll come back and I'll say, I bet it's cool. And I probably never even find out if it was Michael Reinsdorf that requested that Bryson Graham interview him. Maybe we'll never know. But if you wanted Billy to stay, and Billy's like, no, I'm leaving, and Billy Donovan could potentially gave you a thought and said, just give Wes Unseld a chance. Or you wanted to hang on to that because you liked some of those guys, and you said, hey, just give Wes Unseld a chance. I think those are real possibilities, because why are we trying to hang on to this old car when we can be buying a new car? It's just me. Y'all let me know if I'm crazy. Let me know if I'm crazy with that train of thought, because I don't know why Wes Unseld would be on this coaching list. That's just me. He was a part of the last regime. He was with AK Mark Eversley and Billy Donovan. So I just don't understand it. It's not to say that these things haven't happened, but if we're starting over fresh and we're making apologies to the fans, instead of going to get the house that was built in 1949, why not try to get the house that was built in 2026? That's my only point. Why hang on to something when the intentions was to build something new? And I'm not saying that Wes Unseld is going to get the job. I'm not saying that he's going to be a bad coach. I'm just simply saying, why is he on the list? That's it. And we don't look, this could be something that KC Johnson heard out there, but me hearing this, I don't like it. I just don't like it. Let's flush them all out. Hire the coach, allow him to bring his own guys in. Let him do that. Let him bring the new whoever it is. Let them bring in their own people. We shouldn't be trying to hang on to old clothes, old houses, old cars, nothing that's old. We need everything new. Take the old shit to Goodwill. We going to shop at Louis Vuitton. You know what I'm saying? And y'all let me know if I sound crazy. Let me know. Let me know how you feel about that, because I'm not really a fan of it, if it is to be true, by the way. But hey, that is it for me today, y'all, unless there is something else that pops off by the time, we're done here for later today. But for the meantime, let me know your thoughts on everything discussed today, man. How you feeling about Mervis coming from Orlando? And let me know how you feel about the Bulls potentially interviewing Wes Unseld. Potentially. We'll see. Let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure you hit that like button and stay locked in. Stay locked in, because we're going to keep the info coming. We're going to keep rocking out over here. And I just say, hey, man, we appreciate y'all. Make sure you always see red. And y'all already know I'm going to catch y'all on the next one for sure. Peace.
Cognac. Gang.